information sharing, let's put it that way. And I try to make it like more like jargon free and just to the basics of what actually we mean by Bitcoin and this entire phenomenon surrounding it, particular the whole thing that has come up now. And principally, I've kept it to that particular core with jargon free, and I will cover the basics as such. The more details, I will at the end, I will give you all the resources where we can dig deeper into the skimming of all the knowledge that we want, if anybody else is interested. And I think the way that we can do is that some of you guys have actually bought Bitcoin or actually thinking of Bitcoin. We can actually have a bit of a discussion as to what we think about this Bitcoin phenomenon, apart from the basics and the core as to whether somebody should plunge into it, or why we should speculate or not speculate, or whatever it is. Like, I mean, it's kind of a little bit of an open discussion that we can have, maybe with some questions on this presentation or the following presentation, and a little bit more.
Vishal, could you start with basically your introduction, what you exactly do, and what's your background, etc.? That'll be very useful.
Okay, that's good. That's a very good stuff. So principally, I come from the IT background, as most of you, I think, they're coming from. But at the same time, I actually have started my own other company, which is into trading. So this is about the algorithmic trading. So I do have clients' money being managed through algorithmic systems, should I say. So that's one part of what I do, and the other part is like through my other company, I do also consulting in IT. At this present moment, it's straddling between these two spheres, but most likely I will be like fully, like in coming years, that's going full-fledged into this different kinds of algorithmic trading. That's a very brief background, how I got into it and what's, I can spend 5-10 minutes more onto it, but principally you can say that yes, I do have an interest in it from a trader perspective or from other aspects as such, related aspects. Is that good enough?
Yes,
Thank you.
I think so, yeah.
we have very limited time, so
Yeah.
off, you know.
Yeah. So, Milind, are we still?
Yeah, I think Vishal, you can kick off.
Okay, guys. So first and foremost, the first question that we need to ask here is, what is Bitcoin? And the first slide. Basically, and when was this started? Let's put it that way. So the whole Bitcoin phenomenon, it started from one research paper that was put through by one guy called Satoshi. That's the next name is like a bit Japanese, but I would say Satoshi. That's how he's called in the Bitcoin world. And he had put through a paper in which he formulated the concepts, the basic underlying concepts, which was about like how we can actually have a programmable currency. Something which was never kind of like heard of. I mean, like something which was really like more of a laughing stock at that moment, like in 2009 when the research paper came through. And that research paper laid the real foundations of how the entire transactions can go through with a programmable currency. How can the trust be built up between two parties, one who is accepting it, one who is not one who is selling it, and one who is accepting it. So that's where the Bitcoin started from 2009. Now, principally, if you now look back and look at where it is, like you can say it in a very short way that it's like a decentralized digital currency. So there is no one who is printing it, and there is no one who is controlling it as in like any kind of like an institution who is controlling the flow of the currency as such. So it's like a purely decentralized, and it's like by its very nature, there is no printing of anything going on. It's completely in the digital world. That's the essence of Bitcoin. Now, let me just, sorry, I was just playing this. So the first question that comes up is like, okay, having got this programmable currency or virtual currency as such, like what kind of advantages do people have or the society has of this particular concept? The very first thing that comes through is like it enables person-to-person transfer without going through any intermediaries. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. So it enables in a person-to-person transfer without going through any intermediaries. And what this eventually comes down as, the fees are lower if you're trying to transfer. The more amount of intermediaries you have, and maybe in the G7, G10 countries, the transfer of the stuff is okay. But I mean, if you want to transfer it to a country where it is not that direct and you have to go through like 2 or 3 intermediaries to get to the person, like I mean, the fees can add up, and particularly in big transactions, the fees do add up quite a lot, because different exchanges happen, the currency exchanges happen, then on top of that, like each of the banks and the intermediaries, they take some cut out of it. So eventually, like you end up losing like some 0.5%, 1% in different cases. So that's pretty much first big advantage of Bitcoin, is that you don't have any intermediary controlling this transaction and resulting in the fees being lower. Third thing is, as what I just briefly alluded to, that you can use it in any country. So across the board, like I mean, if you have internet, if you have access to the online web, pretty much you can use it in any country. And just to coming from the no intermediary.
Sorry, Vishal. Just to interrupt you, can you guys please, apart from Vishal, put your headsets on mute, because there's so much of disturbance coming. Sorry, Vishal.
Okay, Jess,
Yeah.
welcome.
Go on.
Sure. Okay, no problem. Yeah. So the last one that I could think of is like there are no prerequisites or arbitrary limits. So as in like when you open up the banks, I mean even in the debit cards and the credit cards, there are always limits as to how much you can do the transaction per day. I mean, if you guys have ever seen that, like I mean, they will not allow transactions to happen beyond a certain amount on a daily basis. And I mean, maybe none of you would have come across this particular hard limit on the upper side, but it does create a lot of problems if in the businesses as such, that your bank is not willing to go uh, tally with you on this particular stuff, and you have to actually get some special permissions, and then 3-4 times later, then they increase the upper limit, and this is just like a big hassle. Let's put it that way. And these are the advantages coming from Bitcoin world. There's no arbitrary limits, there's no prerequisites, and it's free to use, like as in like any person is able to use it if he has basic access as such. So primarily these are the advantages, and principally how it works, it comes down to that particular paper which Satoshi wrote. And I will delve deeper into that particular network, but on a higher level, if a person wants to get involved in the Bitcoin, there are a number of exchanges where you can buy yourself. I will again come to this where you can buy this particular stuff. And principally, after you have bought it, you need to store it in a digital wallet. Now, this is a very important stuff. Like, I mean, a lot of times you must have read it in the news that some theft has happened on this exchange, and so many Bitcoins, millions of Bitcoins were basically stolen. So this particular stuff of storing it in a secure digital wallet is of very, very high concern. Like, you need to store it in a proper digital wallet if you are actually getting into this Bitcoin buying, selling, or even as a storage also. Sending Bitcoin is as simple as sending an email. This is one of the core features of Bitcoins. Like, if you want to send this Bitcoin as a gift, or even give it to someone, or it's sending as an email. So it's fairly easy to use. Now, these are the big exchanges where you can actually have the Bitcoins being bought or sold. I've listed 4 of them, but obviously this list is growing and coming from different parts of the world. And there may be some local exchanges which may be better suited for those kind of buyers. So for the UK, I just want to minimize this. Hold on. This. Okay, sure. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see that what I have done is that I've listed 4 different exchanges, the main ones. The Coinbase is one of them. I think Mrunmayee just alluded to that. It's one of the most popular place to buy bitcoins or sell bitcoins. BitQuick is they claim to be one of the fastest ways to buy and sell Bitcoin. BitBargain is one which is more tailored to UK buyers with different payment options. Coin Corner is another one, which is again pretty much like in the Isle of Man. So, I mean, tailored to UK and Europeans as such, which allows purchases with credit and debit cards. So it's straight away like on that particular basis. So these are the 4 ones, but maybe Mrunmayee can add a little bit because he has bought recently yesterday. So maybe he had done a little bit more on these exchanges. But to me, like these are the 4 big ones at this present moment. The thing is, like when you buy these bitcoins, the storing it is extremely important. It's not just the buying and selling. I mean, like on a trading basis, which is fine, that you can do it on a daily basis or a monthly basis, you can buy sell. But if you want to store it, this is where a lot of thought needs to go in. Because either what kind of options do you have? You have like desktop wallets, you have mobile wallets, you have online wallets, and then the 4th one is the hardware wallets, which are the most secure of all the options. But then each one of them comes with its pluses and minuses. Like if you store it in the hardware wallet, then if you want to use it, you will have to carry this hardware wallet with you. And with its USB, you need to make sure that you are able to use it at that time. Online wallets means like you are actually giving this particular Bitcoin, storing it with someone else online. But then always there is a spectre of theft happening or some kind of online heist happening, and then you lose some Bitcoin. But I'm not saying like it always happens, but obviously with the value of the Bitcoin climbing and you are kind of giving it to someone, you are relying upon the security of that particular website or that company to store your Bitcoin securely. So this again is a big kind of confidence you need to have. Mobile wallets, again, you can store it on your mobile phone, but again, it comes with all the things that the Apple Pay or any other stuff that you use it on your mobile wallet. Desktop wallets, yes, a standard way, like you can store it on a desktop, but I've given some names here, multi-bet, dark wallet. I think there are a few others which you can come through. Mobile wallets in iOS, Apple was strongly opposed to Bitcoin wallets, so they removed it, a lot of things into 2013, but I think around about 2015, things started to come back again. So I think Apple realized, or someone realized in Apple that this is not something, then they have started allowing all these different stuff. So eventually they are coming back in the iOS world also. They have a big presence in the Android world through mobile wallets, but in iOS also they are getting through. Most of them, they are present at this present moment. So, I mean, we can go deeper into this stuff, but principally the storage of the Bitcoin is like a big topic in itself. Depends upon how you want to use it. Is it like more just like a trading stuff? Then probably online wallets is good. But if you want to store it for longer duration, probably I would say hardware wallets is one of the most secure ones. Though it comes with a little bit of discomfort that you're not able to use it on a day-to-day basis, but security-wise, it's one of the best ones.
Would you say, sorry, a quick one,
Yeah.
Vishal, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. Would you say there is a certain threshold, as in beyond this, if your portfolio is beyond a certain value, you are better off using the hardware wallet or higher level of security? As to what level, till what level would you consider online wallets or wallets provided by Coinbase and these other providers?
These wallets are good. I think you're right in a way that, I mean, if it's something that you are prepared to lose your amount, yeah, I mean, this is very, very, I mean, when you give these wallets to these people, you're basically doing some kind of a credit like in the business world, like you have a credit rating of the counterparty. So you're saying like this particular entity is that much higher in credit rating that you can safely secure this much amount of money with them, because there is no such bank basically providing support to these companies. They can just go bust tomorrow or over on weekend, saying like, okay, we just declare bankruptcy. So I mean, these are the kind of questions that come up. Like obviously, if it's a small amount, like 1,000, 2,000, I mean, it is not a big thing. You can store it and you can do that stuff. But the value of the Bitcoin exploding, you never know. Like you may be dealing with £10,000 at this present moment. Come 2 years down the line, that may be more than £100,000.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You guys can ask me questions. You can stop me at any slide as such, anything. I mean, and maybe if you guys also have some more idea on these things, I'm also more open to listening to.
I have one question, Vishal. I know about, we can buy the Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency, whatever, but what's the use of it apart from just dealing with them as a share market? Because all we hear right now is you can buy it and you can sell it for this much money. But can you use it for transaction? Can you use it for something else than just by selling it? Or what do we use it?
McDonald's have started using allowing transactions on Bitcoins. You can buy your burger using Bitcoins if you are
Really?
brave enough.
I think this is a more general question. What I will do is that I will let's hold on to that thought, and once we come to the end of it, we can discuss more in general, because this is more like a general question, which probably will be better answered at the end of the.
And there are other things as well. Let's say you have 100 Bitcoins now, and then you move to a different country altogether, and you sell those Bitcoins there. What are the tax implications? Would you have to pay tax in this country? Would you pay in that country? Or would you, I don't know, is there a global tax scenario you have to follow?
No, I mean, this is just like a normal investment. Like if you have invested in anything, and if you move your domicile from UK to US or to India or any other place, I mean, this will be counted as just like a normal investment. So you may be invested in shares, and the tax treatment of Bitcoin investment will be exactly the same as your tax treatment of your property or shares or anything.
Okay.
There's absolutely nothing that says like the Bitcoin has to be treated differently to any other investment that you've done.
Okay. All right. I think I need to read more about the taxing because there are so many ifs and buts in there. So I think it will take a long time if I keep asking.
No, as far as the tax or any other stuff is concerned, it is just like another investment. This is there is nothing to differentiate it and to be treated it as a completely different class or something like that. That's not the case. It's just like another investment. So if you have investment in a property and you're getting a rental income today, and you move out to a different domicile, then your rental income has to be treated in a slightly different way because now you're domiciled in some other place.
Yeah.
These are all the stuff which goes on in the normal tax world as such. So, same stuff. So,
Vishal, sorry. I mean, sorry for my lack of knowledge, but I thought Bitcoin is the whole idea is to kind of avoid tax, isn't it? Bitcoin as such, because hence it's called cryptocurrency. No government has come kind of have got a law as such so far. That's what I somehow understand, but it could be that there could be any country that has got any law to find out how many currencies and how many persons have got all these assets in terms of cryptocurrencies.
You have touched many points there. First and foremost, Bitcoin in itself is not illegal. First and foremost, let's put that thing in perspective. This is not illegal. People may have different opinions about Bitcoins, obviously, but principally Bitcoin itself is not illegal. So if it's not illegal, the purpose is not as if like if you invest in it, like or you're touching something untouchable, or the HMRC is going to come after you. It is not exactly that particular whole thing. Bitcoin at this present moment is even listed in the CME futures, and there are other exchanges which are coming up with their own futures which are going to be tracking the Bitcoin. So it is as wide as that possible. Which, what I mean to say is that when it is listed on these future exchanges, it is not about me and you. It's the big funds, one of the biggest funds in the whole world. They are actually investing in it. So in any case, this is not illegal in any sense of the term. It may be a bubble, or it may not be bubble. We can discuss it later on. That is a subjective opinion, but principally this is not illegal. And secondly, you talked about like the whole purpose is to be shady or something like that. Yes, Bitcoin, because of the present slide that you see here, Bitcoin network, this whole concept of cryptography with the programmable currency in which uh, things are open, but at the same time, like people can use aliases to do transactions. This opens up a very different kind of a world. Like it's like in a virtually, what is your identity? In Facebook, do you actually put your everything as it is? There are fake Facebook accounts. There are fake Twitter accounts. There are like, I mean, you see, like in a virtual world, there will be a set of people who will be putting the right stuff across, like this is like what I should be known as. But then there are other set of people who will then assume some other identity, and they will do the work through this particular identity. That's the nature of the online world, and Bitcoin is nothing but a currency of the online world. And
Hello,
so
Vishal, sorry, 1 second. Milind, the meeting is going to over get soon. So can you pick up the questions from the chat window, so that because when we restart the windows, we're gonna lose all the questions.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
Vishal,
so
sorry.
it's gonna end in next 8 minutes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like in the
Yeah,
meantime, if we
I'll
can
just
get the
copy all the
questions.
questions. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thanks for that.
Sorry,
yeah,
Vishal.
No worries.
no, that's fine. I think this particular slide, the Bitcoin network, this is the underlying technology or the foundation on which the Bitcoin is based upon. So all these things that we're talking about, like essentially, whether Bitcoin is a bubble or not bubble, one thing is for sure: this kind of technology which underpins this Bitcoin is not a bubble. The whole thing is based upon a technology, a platform, which now people are finding various use cases beyond just the Bitcoin phenomenon. And this particular network it will be there, like whether Bitcoin is there or not. This is my personal opinion. And what it is basically, the Bitcoin is trying to leverage a mathematical formula. And this mathematical formula, people are trying to get more and more people who generate Bitcoin. Basically, what they try to do is that they try to find more specific instances where they're able to satisfy this particular formula, and that's where they generate the Bitcoin. The whole process of generation of the Bitcoin is like a big topic in itself. Basically, they have to generate, and then they get verified, and then they get assigned this particular Bitcoin. And so there is a top limit, a maximum limit of how many Bitcoins can come into operation, which is around about 21 million, but around that particular stuff that I've read about. So it is a completely like a mathematical formula without any other stuff happening, and properly, like all the transactions that are happening in the Bitcoin, using the Bitcoin, they are recorded in the transparent public ledger. Now this transparent public ledger, where the trusted entities, how you actually build up the trust between two parties, saying like this is the transaction that is happening, this is all a very, very fundamental concepts of the Bitcoin. And this is where uh, the banks and other exchanges, they are saying that this has far more implications, far bigger implications than just the Bitcoin. Because if more and more people, and as the whole economy starts to go online in 10 years, 20 years down the line, this whole foundation, what Bitcoin is showing, this particular stuff, the terminology that is used here is blockchain. I didn't mention it in the slide as such, but if some of you know this is whole network is called as the blockchain. This blockchain way of building up the online trust, and then the exchanges, the public ledger, this has far bigger implications than just the cryptocurrencies. But they have shown that this can work, and now it's a question of like, okay, how many other use cases can the businesses, entrepreneurs find it? This is a very, very, very big topic in itself. The entire code base of Bitcoin is open source, so anybody can look into it, uh, completely go through it. I mean, and what this thing has done is that because of this being open source, people have forked out at different places. So Bitcoin was the original one. Then there is Bitcoin Cash. There's another equivalent that has come up. Now, I have not, in this presentation, I've not gone about like comparing the different kind of cryptocurrencies, but that's another big topic in itself, why people are forked out at different levels, which is unavoidable in an open source world, because every time there's something open source, you start with one. The Linux started with one, and then by the end of 7-8 years, there are so many different flavors of Linux. So it's the same stuff. Like the Bitcoin started as an open source, and now you have like Bitcoin Cash. There are other also different flavors of the same stuff, and they are all trying to do something different to what the original Bitcoin is doing. So that's the differentiation that is being done. And Bitcoin, unfortunately, is the most popular among the set of currencies, cryptocurrencies. This is what it is. Why am I not able to?
One thing, Vishal, can I ask?
Yeah.
What criteria should we follow to determine what's the best cryptocurrency? I know it's probably lots of things, but is there a little overview you can provide? You may be aware of, or is it
Yes.
hit and try?
No. Well, the how you find out a very, I mean, the what is good for you. Like, I mean, as some of you are saying that you only use it for speculation purposes, for the trading purpose. Then, in that case, the cryptocurrency is just like another instrument on which you are making money, or you're supposedly like an asset class where you are just trading on the fluctuations as such. On the actual usage of the cryptocurrency in the real world, that's where you need to ask yourself, like, which one is better, which one is going to be accepted more, which one has far more usage, the ease of handling, the lower transaction fees, how fast the transactions go through. And this is where Bitcoin at this present moment is lagging. Though it was the first off the mark, Bitcoin as in the real marketplace is lagging. Because I can tell you, like, I mean, the actual Bitcoin transaction fees are sometimes are more like 10 to 15 times higher than the Bitcoin Cash. That's the other fork that I mentioned. And Bitcoin Cash has been specifically created for fast transactions, very, very low fees in the transactions as such. And so these are different kinds of, and the Ripple, like there's another currency, cryptocurrency that is coming through Ripple. Now Ripple is having a very different feel to it, and with its support from different banks, it is coming from a very different angle. So there are the 3 or 4 top competitors at this present moment, along with the Bitcoin. Now, for me, Bitcoin is good for speculation, but its usage in the real world will be shaky because the transaction fees are quite high. At the same time, the speed of transactions is low. So sometimes for usage of the Bitcoin in the real world, you will have to wait for 5 to 10 minutes for the transactions to go through. And this is because of the block size. I'm getting a bit into the technical side, but if you have less than a minute, I mean, the block size is what determines how many transactions can go through at one point. And in Bitcoin, they are restricting it to 1 meg as such. And what Bitcoin Cash has done is that they have opened up this block size to 8 meg. So basically, they are able to process transactions much quicker. And if you look at all these particular, do a little bit of research, you will see that the Bitcoin. Hello?
Yeah, I think it's got disconnected.
Yeah, probably disconnected.
Yeah. So
I think it's still there, but we need to just restart it.
yeah, just restart. Close your screen and just restart again. Yeah.
We can hear you actually.
We can hear you. I mean,
Oh,
if you are able to hear, we
oh,
could might as well just continue, right?
It says less than a minute, so I think like within a minute, I think it's gonna go off. So maybe we can
Okay.
try and keep it on.
Yeah, just save everything and then restart or whatever.
Milind, you can save it. I mean, I'm not saving anything. I mean, like whatever questions or
I
whatever
think
stuff.
record.
I think.
I think the only issue is when I end the call, it takes time to kind of convert that recording into some